Building an end-to-end AI system for driving requires a completely different approach to thinking about safety, to thinking about infrastructure, simulation, data, even the embedded architecture you put on the car. And this is something that we've spent the last decade building from the ground up. And what we're really excited about now is that we've got, it feels like, the entire weight of the industry behind this.
And it's really interesting because there are those different approaches to autonomous driving and partially autonomous driving. There's Waymo, which is more reliant, as you said, on mapping and on LiDAR and radar, as well as the sensors. And then there's Tesla with its own approach, which seems, at least from the outside, slightly closer to the approach that Wayve AI is taking. And then there are the Chinese competitors as well, like Baidu and Pony AI, which may be arguably slightly closer to Waymo. Do you think ultimately this is a winner-takes-all market, or is there room and space for different approaches?
The three main ones that are emerging, you can sell your own cars, that's what Tesla's doing, but that limits you to only your brand and your fleet. And of course, there's so much variety in consumer choice. The second approach, which Waymo's taking, is to build your own fleets. I mean, that requires a very capital-intensive operation to go and grow out city by city. We've chosen a third business model, and that's to license this technology to fleets and manufacturers out there. Now, I'm sure these three business models will coexist, but we've chosen a business model that we believe is going to be the largest because the majority of fleets or manufacturers of robots, whether that's vehicles or in other physical industries beyond cars, the majority of them are going to, I think, find a more efficient and more effective way to partner with an embodied AI platform, because the AI we build can scale and have the economic and safety leverage of the entire industry that we work with, the data that we're able to absorb and provide, I think, a safer and more cost-effective solution, a more performance solution than what any one manufacturer can build on their own.
When I spoke to Waymo about their approach, they said that what LiDAR and what radar gives them, along with the other capabilities they have, are redundancies, and that makes their system safer. Are they right?
I think that's a complex and nuanced question because it really depends on the product you're building. Some products will be better, maybe camera only, some radar, some LiDAR. It really depends. We believe that different sensor configurations are going to be beneficial for different products. Because we want to deploy autonomy in any vehicle anywhere, therefore we need to support them all. And that's the foundation model we've built. A physical AI model that can drive with camera-only systems, like some of these cars, some of them have radar, or some of the products that we're building have LiDAR, and it really depends. But the key thing in all of these products is that it's built for scale.
And your business approach is quite different to Tesla's business approach, but in terms of the technology, it seems, at least from the outside, that they're quite similar. What are the key technological differences between what you're offering and what Tesla's offering?
Today, ourselves and Tesla have a similar benchmark in performance of safety, but we've built that with a fraction of the data and compute that we see in that solution. And now, as we scale up data and compute, as we start receiving data from large-scale consumer fleets from our partners around the world, we're going to scale up.
Alex, you're a Kiwi running a global company out of London. Do you feel the weight of pressure of building a globally scalable, successful tech company out of the UK, out of Europe?
Actually, sometimes I feel like there's a bit of a hold it close mentality, and what I want to be able to do is actually break out and build a global success story. I don't just want to be a success in the local market. I really think of Wayve as a global company, and I want to compete and lead the frontier on a global setting. And going back to what motivates me, this is an adventure. This is the chance to push the frontier, both technically and now commercially. So I think it's a huge privilege to be where we are today and to have the opportunity to go do this.
Speaking of opportunities, we got to experience a Wayve-powered car firsthand.
Right, welcome to our robotaxi.
There is something unique to London's pretty ancient road system. To what extent does that challenge the way that your models are trained or give you an advantage?
Starting in London, we were out of the thought bubble of Silicon Valley, where you saw dozens of autonomy companies all spurning from the DARPA Grand Challenge and the early Google project that were all building with the same technology strategy. And to be out of that ecosystem gave us the space to go build something contrarian and build a different approach that wouldn't have been rejected by the industry there. And then secondly, London is a driving environment that is so complex that it almost forced us to take this more scalable approach, because mapping and driving with remote systems where you've got challenges on your connectivity infrastructure, or London is a 2,000-year-old city, so you've got what have you got here? Way more roadworks than you have in San Francisco. I think about 20 times more roadworks. You've got about 10 times more cyclists and pedestrians than San Francisco. And then, of course, a lot, rather than protected traffic lights, a lot more merging, roundabout interaction scenes. And so all of this adds up to a much more complex autonomy challenge that requires a rethink and a scalable approach.
Am I right in thinking our safety driver hasn't yet touched the wheel?
They won't on this drive.
So you've got, the model is actually on the chip stack in the car. The computer is actually on the device.
Yeah, that's right. So we have an AI onboard the vehicle that's currently driving this car with 6 cameras, 1 radar. So very low cost, hundreds of dollars compute and sensor stack. This is the kind of stack that can go on mass market vehicles.
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and we're driving around the complex streets of, here in King's Cross in North London. We've got some cyclists on our left, we've got traffic in front of us, we've got a diversion in front of us, and it's driving with everything decisions made on board, using onboard intelligence.
The cameras are picking up on indications, whether a car is indicating or not? How does a scenario like that work?
This is the transformative approach that we've taken, is that traditional autonomy companies would have built a indicator detector, a car detector, a traffic light detector, and then had some logic or learned systems that say how to reason about all of these things.
In scenario A, do scenario B.
Exactly. And you can deploy billions of dollars and create such a system, but it's very complex and unwieldy. Instead, we don't tell the car how to behave. We simply say, hey, here's the end outcome you need. Let the data speak for itself. Learn how to drive in this way and figure out what's the right way to represent the world. And we do this by learning a world model. And that world model is able to reason and predict how things are going to unfold. But we don't tell it what features to look out for. It just learns.
Turning in, no mishaps. Very smooth.
Here we go, back at Wayve. How's the drive?
Fantastic. Yeah, very smooth. I felt this was an even more confident version to the version that I joined you in maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Good stuff. I mean, it just keeps getting better by orders of magnitude every year.